My name's Tracy Roberts, and I am an expert in poverty, prosperity, and abundance. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly introduce you to 6 members of my board of directors. You see, throughout our life, we have individuals that influence us. And the longer that I live on this earth, the more influence that I have exerted upon me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how having the right members of your board is going to make all the difference in the world. And what it's going to do is it's going to move you from mixed results to masterful results. If I have the right members of my board, I'm going to move from mixed results to masterful results. In order to do that, I want to take you on a journey. Now, this journey is going to take us from poverty to prosperity. Would y'all come with me on this little journey? All right. When I grew up, I came from very poor circumstances. When I say poor circumstances, we were P.O. poor. What I mean by that is we were so poor we could not afford the extra O or the R. So we were Po. I grew up out in the woods, about 6 miles out of a town of 1,800 people, out in the woods, then a mile down a dirt road on a little piece of land. And when we built our house, the walls on the inside of the house, and there are a few people that in this room that have actually been to that house. The walls on that house were built from reject particle board that we picked up from the dump at the mill. And for privacy in our home, on the bedroom doors and on the bathroom doors, we had sheets that were hung on a little spring rod. And that's what I experienced for privacy. But don't get me wrong, we were blessed because we had a wood stove and it would keep part of the house warm. And so if I ever got really cold, then I could actually go to the wood stove and at least half of me would be warm at any given time. But more important than that, I was blessed because I got to live where my granny lived just up the lane from me. And so she became one of the first mentors in my life. Now, Granny taught me some things that were important to me. Granny taught me, she says, always keep some cash. That has served me well, because I've always got some cash in my pocket. She said, if you keep some cash, then you'll never be broke. And if you ever need to make a phone call, back in the days when you could put a quarter in a phone booth, you'll be able to call home and someone will be able to pick you up. That was an important mentor to me. Her voice still rings in my head today. Remembering I told you that there's a board of directors, and Granny is one of the 6. I told you I was going to give you 6. All right? So Granny's number 1. The second member of this board is my daddy. Now, my daddy, he taught me that you need to work hard and serve other people. And if you work hard and serve other people, the earth's going to be a better place because you've been on it. Unfortunately, if working hard was all of the equation, my daddy would have died a wealthy man. And yet he did not. So he only had part of the equation. He's a mentor and he's still on my board. But he only had part of the equation. Now, when I was in high school, I got to run track. I may not look like it now, but back then I ran track. And one day I was at a track meet, and I looked, and pulling up into the parking lot was an old yellow pickup truck. And I ran faster from the infield of the track out to the parking lot than I ran on the track that day, because my daddy was pulling up. And he came up, and I greeted him, and I was so excited. I was just excited that he was there. We started talking, and we were walking, And all of a sudden we came to the gate. And the entrance fee to get into the track meet was $1. And neither me nor my daddy had $1 on us. My daddy, he was a proud man. So what he did is he gave me some words of encouragement and told me about how he needed to get back to the shop because there were some things to do. And he left. That was the only time he ever came to my track meet. Little did I know then that I know now that not having $1 was going to change my life, and it was going to change the lives of generations to come. And today, I believe that me not having $1 then is now going to get to change your life if y'all want to change. I started seeking out for mentors because I was like, man, I need some mentors in my life. And then all of a sudden, I was following what society told me. Society told me you need to go to school. You need to get an education, get a job. My daddy told me get a government job because then you can get a retirement. So I got me a government job. So I was following the plan, these mentors that I had. Now these mentors, these first two mentors that I told you about, these were individuals that had learned from life's experience. They only had part of the equation. So I started seeking out some more mentors. And then all of a sudden I came across this mentor, and his name was a man that you may have heard of, Dave Ramsey. Has anybody ever heard of Dave Ramsey? All right. So Dave Ramsey, he started teaching me some things. He started teaching me about systems. Have you ever heard of a system? Here's what a system means. Y'all know what it means? Save you some time, energy, and money. So a system is going to save you some time, energy, and money. He taught me about systems. If I could do a debt snowball, and I needed an emergency fund, and all these things were going to make a difference in my world. He told me to get out of debt. Debt is evil. If you're in debt, you're going to be, oh my gosh, you're in trouble. And then my job quit me, and I found out that just being out of debt, that I couldn't retire on that. That was an interesting lesson. Then I came across another mentor of mine, and his name was Rabbi Daniel Lapin. Now, Rabbi Lapin, he says that he's America's rabbi, and everyone needs a rabbi, whether you're Jewish or not. I'm not Jewish, but I do have a rabbi. And Rabbi Lapin, he taught me some things. Man, he was teaching me some things. Rabbi Lapin, he says, you need some of these. And if you've got some of these in your pocket, it's because you've blessed other people. You've blessed God's children. And then all of a sudden, I'll go into the church house. And I'm in the church house, and people are telling me that money is the root of all evil. And if you're rich, you stink, and that there ain't nobody rich ever getting into heaven. And oh my gosh. But then I've got my rabbi right over here, and my rabbi's telling me, you need money because when you have more money, then that means you get to bless other people. But then then I walk right back in there, and from the pulpit of the church, there are people that are professing to be Christians and professing this or that, and they're telling me that I stink if I've got money. And then I look around the church and I'm going, how did we build the church? So I've got a conflict. I've got a rabbi over here telling me I need money, and I've got other people telling me don't, but give us your money so that we can build the church. Whew. It's a conflict. Did I tell you that if you have the right people on your board, it's going to make a difference? Well, this board is metaphoric. It's a metaphor. It's kind of like in my brain. And so sometimes I get confused. If I've got two members of the board that are telling me two different things, it can cause confusion in my mind. So knowing who's on the board is so important. And then all of a sudden I came across this. He is my personal financial mentor. And this individual is King Solomon. And King Solomon, he taught me about money. He taught me some great things about money and some things that I'm not going to teach y'all about today. But King Solomon, he was the fifth member. And then about 4 years ago, I got an individual on my board. You may have heard of this man, and his name was Chris Crone. And he started teaching me some things. He started teaching me about using other people's money. Oh my gosh. And so now I've got this board meeting. If y'all can come with me really quick, because I had a board meeting, and all of a sudden I'm at this board meeting, and I'm trying to buy another investment property. I'm buying another investment property, and then all of a sudden the chairman of the board recognizes Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey says, dude, you got to stay out of debt. Debt is bad. And then Mr. Crone comes up and he's saying, wait a second, you can use other people's money. And this fight ensues inside of my head, and these individuals are fighting each other, and they're jumping and up and down and screaming and hollering, and finally I just have to say, stop! I am the chairman of the board. Can y'all point at yourself and say, I am the chairman of the board? And the chairman doesn't recognize this individual. The chairman now recognizes this individual. Now, knowing that I'm the chairman of the board makes all the difference in the world for me. So if I would like y'all to write down on a piece of paper, get out a piece of paper really quick, and write on the top of it, board of directors. Right on the top, board of directors. And after you write board of directors, then I would like you to write, I am the chairman of the board, and put your name right after it. I am the chairman of the board. And here's what I would like you to do after you've done that, after you've written, I am the chairman of the board. Then I want you to go in your mind, and I want you to think really quick. Think about who is on your board. The top 5 people that are on the board, the top 5 influencers that are on your board. I want you to get that. Top 5, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. Write down your top 5 influencers on your board. Once you've got that, does everybody have it? If you've got it in your mind and on your paper, then could y'all raise your hand so I can kind of see where we're at? All right. Y'all keep writing. Find those members of the board. Because as you find the members of the board, then now you're going to know who's operating your life. You're going to actually be able to figure out who it is that is controlling your life. Because if I don't know who's on my board, then I'm in trouble. Because my board is going to start running me instead of me running the board. All right, is there anybody that has 5 members of the board? You got 5 members of the board that would like to share? Do I have a mic really quick? All right, right over here. Tracy, I like your name. That means courageous in Gaelic.
Okay, I'm Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
I've got first my mom and my dad, of course. Earl Nightingale, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, and a friend of mine named George.
Wow. Now that is a board of directors that I can work with. I would like to go to that board anytime. Now, did you see we've got some important members of the board real quick? We got important members of the board. Now, are there anybody that should be on the board that aren't on the board? Does anybody have anybody that they would love to be on their board that is currently not? Anybody?
I would like Chris on my board.
Oh, Chris Crone. Now, Chris Crone is a good person to have on your board, but he can cause chaos in your world because he. All right. Now, I would like, I've had an opportunity, and I was talking to Debbie, and I would like Debbie to come up on the stage real quick. Well, can y'all invite Debbie to the stage? I'm going to hold this. All right. I'm going to invite Debbie to the stage. Now, when I told you that there were members of the board, and some people don't know that they're the chairman of the board. So sometimes it might be necessary to get something that would demonstrate to the world that you are the chairman of the board. All right, we're going to see if we can get this sword on. It's bigger than Debbie. All right. All right. So now Debbie has the sword. Now, Debbie, can you quickly tell us about some of the members of your board, if you would like to share? Would you be willing to share
Yes.
a couple of the members?
Yes. Okay. So I realized when you said that I didn't even have a board. So they're all newly assigned within 5 minutes. And King Solomon.
Oh, King Solomon is one of my
Loved that
favorites.
story. You shared more details with that at lunch yesterday. I love that story. Tracy and his wife Lviv are newly on my board.
Wow. I just got elected to her board.
Napoleon Hill and Jesus.
All right. Okay. Now, in your mind, in your thinking about it, are there anybody, voices in your head that make decisions for you and sometimes make hard decisions? Are there any individuals that you can think about that really are on your board that you didn't mention?
that have been on my board?
That have been on your board?
Voices in my head that have stopped me.
Yes.
Yeah, my former spouse.
Oh, so your former spouse
It's a big
could
one.
still be on the board.
Yes.
And you know what? Here's what I found, is he probably really is still on the board. Even if Debbie said, well, I kicked him off, he may still be on the board.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we found out yesterday he's still on the board.
Oh, all right. So what can I do? If I write out the name of the people that are on the board, here's what I want you to do. If you've got anybody that's on your board right now that doesn't belong on the board, then here's what I want y'all to say. And I want you to say, actually, everybody, would y'all please just stand up and say, I am the chairman of the board. I am the chairman of the board. And people serve on my board at my will and pleasure. So turn to your neighbor and say, people are on my board.
People on my board, sir.
At my will and pleasure.
My will and pleasure.
And if you don't act right, you're dismissed.
You're dismissed.
All right. Y'all sit down for a second, because we're almost done, and I want to show you something. Now, do you see the power of scratching someone off of your board? Now I want to tell you, I want to just share with you that my granny and my daddy will always be members of my board. But they are ad hoc members now. They're not voting members. Sometimes Granny will give me a piece of her wisdom, and I'll love on it, and I'll say, thank you, Granny, for giving me that. But now I've got a multi-millionaire, even a billionaire in my life, and he's giving me financial information that is different from just keep $1 in your pocket. And so I always love on Granny. She's always welcome at that table. She's always welcome. But there are some people that need to be dismissed. Are there any other people other than your former spouse that need to be dismissed from the board?
My parents.
Your parents?
Yes.
Wow. Do parents do the best that they can?
Yes.
Yes. And do we love them because they did the best that they can?
Yes.
Yes, I do love them. But my daddy only had a certain amount of information to give me. He gave me everything he could. But he was a poorer country boy than I was. All right, so you now can you dismiss them with love?
Yes.
Yes. So some of them you may even write a letter to them, and you're just going to write these aren't letters to send. Please do not send these letters. Hey. When Abraham Lincoln passed, they found in his drawer all these letters that he had written to many different people and never sent. There's power in writing a letter. So you can write it to them, and you can write it to your parents, and you can say, I love you so much, and thank you for serving me and blessing me. But you know what? On my financial board, we've got new members, and so thank you for your service, and we're gonna let y'all go. Could that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did we just put this heavy sword on her for no reason? All right, we put it on her for a reason. And I'm going to show her, and I'm going to let her play. All right, I'm going to take her. Now, a sword is a powerful, powerful thing. As the sword comes out, the real warrior can strike. The Christian warrior, which I happen to be, he puts this up to his face, and he sees something in front of him. And he recognizes something. Y'all can see it if you want to see it. I don't know if you see it or not, but I do every time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Debbie. Deborah, because Deborah was a great prophetess in Israel, and so I like the name Deborah better than just Debbie. I'm going to have Deborah, the prophetess Deborah, she's going to pull that sword out. She's going to hold it up, and she's going to declare to the world, I am the chairman of the board.
I am the chairman of the board.
All right. I don't know if she wants to put that sword back in the scabbard or not yet, but that is the limitless sword, and that is so powerful. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually let Debbie try to walk back to her seat with that. And please give Debbie a big hand and a big round. Actually, let's put it back in the scabbard before you walk with it, because this is a sharp, sharp sword. All right. Now I'm about to sit down. I'm really about to sit down, but I want to tell you something that I learned about mentors. Are y'all willing? I learned something about mentors with Chris Crone. He taught me some powerful things. And here's what I learned about a mentor. Here's the definition of a mentor for me. Write this down. This may be important to you. A mentor is someone who has been somewhere that I have not, and I want to go. So a mentor has been to a place that I want to go. So if I'm building a business and I want to create $100,000 a year, then I need to find a mentor that's been somewhere else. And here's the more important thing. They have to be willing to work with you. So number 2 is they have to be willing to work for you. And now I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to give you the, Here it is. The mentor needs to have gone 10 times past where I want to go before they can come onto my board. 10 times. When you Jim Rome, Bob Proctor, when you mention them, all right, well, they've gone 10 times past probably where you want to go. So if I'm trying to create a business with $100,000 a year, then who do I need to find as a mentor? Someone who has created how much? $1 million. Not just $1 million, they created $1 million in 1 year. So that's the kind of mentor I need, someone that's gone 10 times past. That's why I have Chris Crone as my mentor, and he's going to be coming up and blessing us in an even more powerful way than you can even imagine. You see, 4 years ago when I was introduced to this man, I was a deputy sheriff and I was walking around with chains on myself. I thought I was putting shackles on other people, and I was the one walking around with chains. Every time that Chris Crone would see me, he would say, quit your job. Quit your job. And then all of a sudden now I'm hearing that he's telling Chef Anthony to quit his job. I'm excited. And you know why I'm excited? Because I like Chef Anthony's food. And I don't think that Chef Anthony needs to be walking around toting Cokes and Pepsi and stuff like that. He needs to be, Chef, you need to be in the kitchen cooking food. All right? That's what, and so Chris Crone told me to quit my job. He wouldn't even say hi to me. Every time he'd see me, he wouldn't even say hi. He'd just say, quit your job, it's holding you back. And I said, Chris, I can't quit my job. Do you see, if I quit my job, they give me a little check. They give me a little check every week, every 2 weeks. And they give me insurance. And they give me all these kind of things. And Chris said, it's holding you back. God has a bigger calling for you. I didn't know then that I know now that my calling was to be the pastor of prosperity. My calling was to go around and to uplift people and to speak a word into their life so that they could do some things. I didn't know it because I was wearing a star. I was a deputy sheriff, and I still have it with me in case an officer pulls me over, then this is how I don't get a ticket. But he changed my life. He helped me move from being the little bitty worm, and he put me a cocoon around me, and he allowed me to turn into something much, much greater than I am. But here, and I really am sitting down. I swear I'm sitting down. Here's the bonus piece that I want to give to you. You've heard it mentioned, and it's the inner circle. Chris, as a personal mentor, took me some places. And then all of a sudden, Chris, the things that he taught me, then he set up a place where more and more people could learn it. And what I found is when I moved into the inner circle, is that I could be the teacher, the mentor, and I could be a student simultaneously, all at the same time. And the reason being is because I was hanging out with people like Chef Anthony. I was hanging out with great singers like Kara Brand. And I got to learn and get the book from Stacey Harmer. And all of a sudden, those are the people that I'm hanging out with on a weekly and a daily basis. If you don't have a millionaire mentor on your speed dial, you need one. Now I'm hanging out with people that know what their mission is, and they're elevating me. And I'm not just the one elevating, because I thought that I was walking through this world all by myself. Because the higher and higher I was climbing on the mountain, all of a sudden I thought that you start getting really lonely. There's only so many Sir Edmund Hillarys that get to the top of Mount Everest. And I thought I was all alone. And then all of a sudden Chris said, I'm going to show you something. I've been teaching you some things. Now I'm going to show you something different. And here's what it is. I'm going to show you a peak that you haven't even anticipated yet. And on that peak are sitting peers. So there are peers. Now I have peers in my life. I have people that are trying to accomplish the same things that I'm trying to accomplish. And that has made all of the difference in the world.